So this is it then, the final day's action. And just to put it into some kind of perspective, Cass, 16 games possible today. Europe need to win 6, the USA 11.
I kind of think I know where my money's going to go, but who knows? Anything can happen, as we've seen in previous Weber Cups. But it's a great start with Don Barrett stepping up first of all with an advantage because he's got that the lead in the number of wins. He's got some fantastic scores he's bowled in the singles match. He's won 3 of his 4, but 2 of those were over 260. He's bowled a 278, a 265 to win, compared with Kyle Troup, who's only won 1 of his 3 singles, but he had a 250 and a 260. So both players have been lined up on the oiling pattern. It's just a matter of who's going to strike first.
And the first ball of the day doesn't bring about a strike for Kyle Troup, who, as Cass said, shot 267 in beating Martin Larsson in yesterday evening's session. The Afro pick was out again on stage at the start. It proved to be a lucky omen for him yesterday, but not quite just yet, and an early opening for Europe's captain.
Yeah, just a single pin, 4-pin left standing, so a 9 and a spare will count as 10, plus the 9 is 19 under the unique world bowling scoring system that we are using in this tournament.
Takes away the spare, Kyle Troup. Well, you couldn't have 2 more contrasting characters, could you, in both the way they play and the way they look and dress?
I was just, I thought it could have been a hairdressing competition, didn't it? Kyle Troup, nicknamed Fro because of his afro hair, and Dom, well, he's just thinning a little bit in the heat.
Averaging 247, 62.5% strike rate. He's won 4 points so far, but it's really a relief for him not to be playing Wes Malott, who he's faced in all of his singles matches up until now. And that'll be a relief too, a fine start for Europe's captain.
Yes, absolutely sailed that one into the pocket and carried all 10. That strike is worth 30 pins under the new scoring system, so he's off to a great start. And we are playing on the long oil condition, 45 feet, picked by the American captain.
Decent strike rate as well for Kyle Troup, who won a couple of times in the doubles, part of the winning Baker team as well, and then that singles victory. He was well beaten by Jesper Svensson in session 1, but that was more like the form we saw yesterday against Martin Larsson.
Yeah, Kyle shoots a great looking strike, hard and fast down the right hand side of the lane, lots of reaction in the back end, trips the 4-pin, and that's worth 30 pins added to the 19 from the first frame. His score moves to 49.
It's interesting to hear Parker Bone III talk about the need for a 6-1 session, exactly what the Europeans had on Friday evening. Yesterday was bang even with 7 points each over the 2 sessions. And he leaves up the 10-pin Don Barrett, and the Troup is back in.
Yeah, you'll notice that Dominic is throwing a much tighter line, further down the middle of the lane. It's almost a straighter shot. Pretty unfortunate not to carry that 10-pin, which would have made 2 strikes in a row. So this can only be a 9 spare. And the 9 spare is worth 19 to go to his 30 in the first frame.
Kyle Troup, who joined the PBA Tour in 2010. The Wolf Open in 2015, his only PBA title. He actually beat Weber Cup teammate Marshall Kent in that final. So he knows how to deal with pressure. He leaves the 10 this time.
Yeah, pretty hard and fast. It's a very powerful ball with, as we've seen, lots of rotation, lots of revolutions. Left the 6-pin jump right round the 10-pin. Didn't even touch it again, so this can only be a spare. Kyle has won quite a few regional tournaments within the United States. He's no stranger to high caliber bowling.
9 spare takes him to 68. And if Barrett can strike here, then he will regain the lead. Just with an 11-pin advantage.
Wayne, just a quick word about the lane dressing pattern. It's 45 feet long, which leaves 15 feet of what they call dry back end from the end of the pattern to the head pin. And the centre of the lane has got 4 times more oil on it than it has on the outside. And Dominic is playing sort of a fine line between the dryness on the outside and the wet in the middle, and he's taken himself another strike, and it's a great looking shot. Harder and straighter, look at that. Cutting down the hook, hitting the pocket perfectly, and tripping that 10-pin.
2 from 3 for Barrett. Remember, Europe beaten 4-3 in the session yesterday on the longsword oil pattern. He did win the opening singles though when Williams beat Malott. Shot from Troup, and he needed to respond in that fashion.
Certainly was a great looking shot. Yeah, he's had a couple of single pins and 2 strikes. Moves his score up to 98. Perfect looking shot with some angle right into the 1-3 pocket, in behind the head pin. Just a little tweak with the fingers and that's good enough. Barrett looking for 2 strikes in a row to take the lead in the 4th frame.
But he can't manage it. It's kind of strike spare at the moment between the 2 of them, isn't it?
Well, it is, yes. They're both kind of hitting the pocket and just hoping to carry all 10. But this one, it's a really great looking shot. Just a fraction light on that head pin only, and that's why the 10-pin has stood up. It's the angle that the ball makes as it goes in behind the head pin and hits the 3-pin. Straightforward spare. Again, 9 spare is worth 19.
98 each after 4 frames.
Yeah, pretty good looking scorecard. Both players can max out at 278 if they both strike out.
Working on a double here.
Oh dear, oh dear.
That's horrible for Kyle Troup.
That is so poor. What a terrible leave for Kyle Troup. He's left the 4 and the 6-pin split, and this is impossible. It's not a bad looking shot. At that point it's really good. It's just a fraction high on the head pin, and look what it's left. An impossible split.
That's a good effort, but that's all he could do. It is the first open frame of the final day's action at the Weber Cup.
And with an open frame, it's just the pins bowled, so it was 8 and 1. He only scores 9 pins in that frame.
Chance for Don Barrett to really cement home an advantage here.
Yeah, this is all part and parcel of the new scoring system. Spares and strikes are really good. Open frames do so much damage, they really do. Especially when your opponent hits a pocket shot like that. 9 spare is going to be good, because if you can spare it, it's 19, whereas Kyle just had 9.
Yeah, not the total he wanted, but it's enough to edge him in front. Very nearly took them all.
Just a little wobble on that 10-pin. As I say, it's the 3 and the 6-pin that need to kick that 10-pin out on the strike shot. But a spare's good enough.
2 strikes, 3 spares. Leaves Don Barrett with a 10-pin advantage. That open frame not quite as damaging as it might have been for Kyle Troup.
There's the guys that aren't playing. All friends off the lane, but even during the tournament they're having a chat. But don't forget, they play on the American circuit together, they travel together, they play on the world tour. They're certainly not strangers to one another.
It's a great shot from Troup. Strike number 3 for the American.
Yeah, he comes roaring back with 30 pins on that strike. Moves out out to 137. See, his ball's in absolute perfect place there. It's a fraction light, but he gets some mix on those pins, and the 5-pin right in the middle of the deck is the last one to go. But he's more than happy with that.
Needs to follow suit. Yeah, leaves the 10 again. It keeps happening for Don Barrett.
Yeah, I think, is that 4 or 3 that he's had? 10 pins left off. Reasonable pocket hits. Just unfortunate.
Well, I mean, he's going to slip behind Cass because he can go 1-3-6 with the spare, so he would be 1 pin behind Troup. Do you find that with this new scoring system that the open frames aren't perhaps as expensive as they were under the traditional scoring? Because
no,
you're not losing your bonus.
No, that's right. They're not quite as damaging. But with the calibre of player we've got playing in this tournament, I mean, we've seen lots of strikes and very few opens, so that's why the scores have been so high under this new system. It's just great for television. And that was the concept behind the new system. It was designed to be a presentation for the International Olympic Committee, hoping that the bowling could get into the Olympics. And it's also been used several times in major tournaments for televised finals only.
Two-hander from Washington. Oh, takes them all. The messenger takes away the 10, and out comes the Afro prick for Kyle Troup.
What a great looking shot that was from Kyle. He rung the 10 pin in the corner. Now watch this, it's hard and fast. Here comes the head pin. This is the head pin coming across. We call it the messenger, and it gives 2 little taps on the 10 pin, and bang, away it goes. Oh baby, look at that.
Oh, he needs this just to stay in touch, and he gets it. That is how ice cool Europe's captain Don Barrett can be. And the celebrations cut short. Troup was hoping to get away, but the lead remains at just 1.
Yeah, great comeback there from Don Barrett after ringing several 10 pins in the corner on spares. Takes 30 pins on his last shot and remains just 1 pin behind as we get down to the last 3 frames.
Picture of concentration.
Well, it will probably be the first one to glitch, shall we say, blink. Or possibly not have a strike. 9 spare coming up for Troup, he hopes. Really could have done with another strike there, would have given him 3 in a row. His maximum drops to a maximum total of 2, 4, 6. Not quite in the pocket with that shot.
No mistake with the spare from Troup. 186. Have a chance for Barrett to get himself a 10-pin advantage. Maybe he can carry all 10 here.
It's a very nice looking score sheet for both players, except that 1 open frame. In frame number 5 for Kyle Troup. Don Barrett's been almost perfect. Although he's only got 3 strikes, he's been so close with those corner pins. And this is a mighty big ball for him. No, he can't manage it. It's not the 10 pin, it's the 4 pin this time.
Yeah, it's the 10 that's been frustrating him mostly. There again, it's just heavy through that head pin, Cass.
Yeah, you've got to be absolutely perfect to set up that initial chain reaction. And all the pins fly into one another and take 10. Hard and straight with his spare ball. Take that spare away.
And the Afro fish remains in front by just the 1 pin. And yet again, it looks as though we've got a game that could be going to the wire here.
This unusual, unique scoring system takes lots of games right down to the foundation frame, which we are now, frame 9. Both players working on a spare, and there's only 1 pin difference.
And the tension very much there on the final day already. Leaves the 7.
Crikey, how about that? The ball hit so hard, I think pins jumped up and over that 7-pin in the corner. It wasn't a bad looking shot. Just check this one out. It may be just a fraction high, but look at that single pin that's jumped up and around and over the 7-pin. So it can only be a spare, which may well give the advantage now to Don Barrett if he can strike.
Yeah, we'll be in the same situation as the previous frame. Just caught the outside of it, but it was enough. Barrett, though, has only managed one strike in the last 5 frames. If he gets one here, he will move into a 10-pin advantage ahead of the final frame.
Yeah, biggest ball of the game for Don Barrett, this one. Hopefully going to set himself up for victory with a big shot in the pocket and carry all 10. He certainly won't be rushed, will he? Looking for 10.
It's the 10-pin again.
Oops. Dear oh dear. He can't believe it. He's absolutely peppered this pocket all game long. And he's only come up with 3 strikes so far. Lots of 9s. Dear oh dear, how unfortunate. Must make the spare though, just to stay in touch.
Does take it. But it means, Cass, a strike here for Troup, and it's a point for the USA.
There's 1 pin difference and 1 ball each to bowl. If Kyle Troup, as you say, if Kyle Troup shoots a 10 here, it's all over. He'll shut Dom out by 1 pin. So it's a must-strike situation for Kyle Troup.
This ball to pull it back to 13-9 overall. And the first step on that seemingly impossible mission that Parker Bone III was talking about of a 6-1 session to level it up for the evening.
Strike to win, and we will look for the reaction. If he does, it's going to be victory.
It is! The Afro Fist does it again, a second straight singles win for the rookie Kyle Troup, and well, how dramatic, Cass.
That will do his confidence so much good. An early doors victory for the Americans and a great looking shot. Don Barrett, unfortunately, even if he strikes, he's going to be 1 pin short, which he is. Yeah, it's a 234 victory for the Americans.
And you can't understate what a massive victory that is for the US, beating the European captain. Europe leading the USA 13-9, a big step forward for Parker Bone III's team.